I had to break up with my task list because honestly, it just wasn't working. No matter how much I did, it kept growing and I always felt behind. But when I ditched it, something surprising happened. I became more productive than ever. And today I'm going to tell you exactly how. Now, here's the simple fact. Task lists do three things really, really well. They keep you reactive, they keep you exhausted, and they keep you perpetually feeling like a failure. And we're going to break down all three of those here today. And then don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I promise I'm going to offer you a better solution. So let's go ahead and break this down. First and foremost, task lists keep you reactive. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when you sit down every day to make your golden task list for the day, and someone somewhere told everyone to circle the top three, there's no science behind that. What's happening is your brain is instantly thinking about what can I do today, like in the next 12 to 15 hours. Which means it's reacting to what is foremost of in your brain, what feels most urgent, what feels most right now. And sometimes the things that feel urgent aren't actually the things that are the best use of our time for the day. And when we are stuck in this state of being reactive, what happens long term is we fail to make progress on those longer term goals and projects, right? The ones that require us to really, map out a 6 or 12-month plan and figure out step by step how we're going to get there. If you're operating in daily task list mode, you're going to be reacting to what's right in front of you, and you're never going to make progress on those things. Number two, second thing that your task list is really good at, it's really good at keeping you exhausted. Am I right? Now, ask yourself, when was the last time when you made a task list that you actually sat down and wrote how long each item on your list is going to take? I don't know about you, but I have never done that ever in my life when I have made a list. And chances are you aren't either. Well, here's what's subtly happening. I guarantee you with 99% certainty, everything that's on your list for the day would be impossible for you to get done in the confines of that day, right? Which means we are perpetually running a race we cannot win. It's almost like playing that game of whack-a-mole. As soon as you check one thing off, two more things comes on, right? And you feel like your whole purpose in life is to check everything off before you go to bed at night. Well, what are the chances of that happening? Slim to none. Which leads me to the third thing that task lists are really good at. They're really good at making you feel like a failure. It's very subtle, but it's connected to the number two, right? Of being exhausted. When you go to bed every single night with half of your list left unchecked, what's subtly happening is when you wake up the next morning, you wake up already feeling behind, already feeling negative, right? So let's say you had 18 things on your task list on Monday. You check off, maybe you got lucky and you checked off 10 of them. Well, when you wake up Tuesday morning, you're starting your day feeling like you're already 8 behind. And now you're going to go add another 18 to it. You wouldn't ever just tell yourself, I failed because I didn't get my task list done. It's far more subtle than that. But it keeps chipping away at eating at you, which really starts to impact your overall self-worth, therefore leading us to feeling like we're failing, when in reality, we're succeeding at a lot of stuff. Now, layered in with this, I loved this story that a friend that's a teacher shared with me on the importance of why, whenever she's grading papers, she always writes down how many they got right instead of wrong. So let's say you were taking a test and there was 100 questions on that test and you missed two. What would you rather see at the top of that paper? Plus 98 or minus 2? I'd rather see the plus 98. And when you're operating from that daily task list, you're not going to bed at night saying, look at that, I got 10 amazing things done. No, you're focusing on the ones that you didn't. So it's like having that big red -2 at the top of your paper instead of celebrating what you did do. So now that we've talked about three things that task lists are great at, and guess what? They're not good things, right? Let's discuss what's the solution to this, right? We make task lists for a reason. We want to remember things. We don't want to fall behind. We want to have a reference to know, okay, what do I need to do to make sure I'm not late or falling behind, etc. Well, the solution lies in getting away from our task list and instead learning how to plan. Now, you might be thinking a task list is a plan, but friend, I promise you it is not. When you're planning, this means you're being very proactive, which is the opposite of that first thing we talked about, where we're being very reactive, right? Task list mode, we're going, oh my gosh, what's next? And we're kind of handling what's screaming at us the loudest. When we're proactive, we are intentionally taking a step back, looking at our week at a whole, and making decisions with specificity on what we're doing and when we're doing it. And that really gets us out of reactive mode. And when we're out of reactive mode, our anxiety quiets quite a bit. Let's also talk about another benefit of planning. When you're doing planning, it means that you get to align the right kind of activities for parts of the day where you're going to be your best doing them. And that helps prevent exhaustion, which again, remember, exhaustion was the second thing that task lists are really, really good at. Now, coupled with that, when you're creating a plan, and planning includes actually capturing how long things take, this means that you're going to be far more realistic with what you can accomplish in a week so that you are setting yourself up for success to say, here were the things that my calendar, my time, the actual math, right? Around here's how long everything takes, here's when I'm doing it, so that you can step into your week feeling really certain that the stuff you've planned is going to get done instead of just having this never ending list that you will never accomplish that's keeping you exhausted and feeling like a failure. Now, if you want to see what this weekly planning process looks like, I've got a link to a video here where I kind of introduce you to my proprietary weekly planning process. It has changed the lives of tens of thousands of women around the world. I've been using it for years through all different stages and seasons of life, and I will continue to do so for the foreseeable future.